The kitchen was hot and cramped, nothing like the elegant dining room where my family sat celebrating my sister Olivia's graduation. Through the swinging door, I could hear crystal glasses clinking and polite laughter, the soundtrack of upper-class pretension that had defined our family for years. "More crab cakes, miss?" Maria, our longtime housekeeper, offered me a sympathetic smile as she balanced a serving tray. "Thanks, Maria." I picked one up, remembering how many family events I'd spent in this kitchen with her over the years. At least the food's better here. I'm Catherine Chin, though my family barely acknowledges the name these days. At 35, I run one of the largest tech companies on the West Coast, but to them, I'm still the family disappointment, the daughter who refused to follow the proper path. The irony? Olivia had just graduated with her MBA from Stanford, and tomorrow she would start working at my company, Horizon Technologies. Not that she knew this. As far as she was concerned, she'd landed a prestigious position through her own merit. "Catherine." My mother's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. She appeared in the kitchen doorway, her designer dress a stark contrast to the utilitarian surroundings. "Why aren't you helping serve? This is your sister's special day." I looked down at my simple black dress, deliberately chosen to blend in with the catering staff. "I thought I was supposed to stay out of sight, Mother. Isn't that why you seated me in the kitchen?" Her lips tightened. "Don't be dramatic. You know how important these connections are for Olivia's new career. We can't have you embarrassing her by talking about your little internet business." Little internet business. That's what they called Horizon Technologies, a company valued at over $4 billion. I had to admire their commitment to denial. "Of course, Mother." I picked up a tray of champagne flutes. "Wouldn't want to embarrass anyone." She stopped me before I could pass. "And Catherine, Mr. Harrison from Goldman Sachs is here. Don't mention that unfortunate incident from last year." Ah yes, the unfortunate incident where I had turned down Goldman's acquisition offer for Horizon. Mr. Harrison had been quite upset to learn that a woman he dismissed as a small-time entrepreneur had the power to reject his $2 billion proposal. The dining room was a sea of expensive suits and designer dresses. My father held court at the head of the table, probably bragging about Olivia's perfect GPA and job prospects. Next to him, my sister preened in her new Chanel suit, basking in the attention. "Oh, Katie's doing her little computer thing," I overheard Olivia saying to someone. "You know how some people just never grow up? Still playing with websites in her 30s. I bit back a laugh. Tomorrow she'd be starting as a junior analyst at that little computer thing, though she'd applied through a subsidiary company name. "The help eats in the kitchen," Olivia smirked when she saw me approaching with the champagne tray. "Though I suppose that's appropriate for you, isn't it?" Our father chuckled indulgently. "Now Olivia, be nice to your sister. Someone has to serve the drinks." The guests laughed politely and I played my part, silently offering champagne while mentally reviewing tomorrow's orientation schedule. Olivia would be in for quite a surprise. "I just can't wait to start my new job," Olivia announced to the table. "Vice President of Operations at Nexus Dynamic. It's really one of the most innovative firms in Silicon Valley." I suppressed a smile. Nexus Dynamic was indeed one of the most innovative firms in Silicon Valley, mainly because it was a subsidiary of Horizon Technologies, created specifically to identify and recruit promising talent. Tomorrow, Olivia would learn that her vice president title was actually Junior Operations Analyst. The party continued, with me floating between the kitchen and dining room, serving drinks and collecting empty plates. Each time I passed, I caught snippets of conversation about Olivia's brilliant future. She'll be running the company in no time, following in her father's footsteps. Unlike some people who waste their potential. I checked my phone discreetly. A message from my COO. "Everything's set for tomorrow's orientation. You sure about this?" "Absolutely," I typed back. "Just make sure the cameras are rolling when she finds out." As I slipped my phone back into my pocket, I heard the doorbell ring. Right on time. Maria hurried to answer it, returning moments later with a tall, distinguished-looking man in an impeccable suit. Marcus Wong, my COO and longtime friend, who had insisted on witnessing this moment personally. "I apologize for the late arrival," he announced to the room. "I'm here to meet our newest employee." Olivia practically leaped from her chair. "Mr. Wong, I'm so honored you came personally. I can't wait to start at Nexus Dynamic tomorrow." Marcus smiled politely, his eyes scanning the room until they found me by the kitchen door. His eyebrows rose slightly at seeing me holding a serving tray. "Madame Sue," he said clearly, offering a small bow in my direction. "I didn't expect to find you serving drinks at your own sister's party." The room went silent. Every head turned toward me. Olivia's champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. And that's when everything started to unravel. The silence that followed Marcus's words was delicious. Crystal glasses stopped clinking mid-air. Forks paused halfway to mouths. My father's face turned an interesting shade of purple. "What did you say?" Olivia's voice came out as a whisper. Marcus raised an eyebrow, playing his part perfectly. "I said, 'Good evening, Madame C.' Though I must admit, Catherine, I've never seen you serving drinks at a corporate function before." I carefully set down my serving tray. "Well, Marcus, sometimes it's important to stay humble. Wouldn't you agree, Olivia?" This is impossible," my father sputtered. "Catherine runs a small internet company. Mr. Wong, there must be some mistake." Marcus pulled out his phone, displaying the latest Forbes article about Horizon Technologies. There I was on the cover in a power suit rather than the simple black dress I wore now. The headline read, "Catherine Chin, the quietly building a tech empire." "Small company?" Marcus's voice dripped with amusement. Horizon Technologies is valued at $4.2 billion as of last week's market close. And Miss Chin here isn't just the CEO, she's the founder and majority shareholder. The room erupted in chaos. Mr. Harrison from Goldman Sachs choked on his champagne. My mother collapsed into her chair, her perfectly manicured hand clutching her pearls. But it was Olivia's face I couldn't look away from, the slow dawning of horror as realization hit. "Wait," she stammered. "Nexus Dynamic. Is that a subsidiary of Horizon Technologies?" I finished for her. "Yes. Congratulations on your new position, by the way. Though I should mention, there seems to have been some confusion about your title." I pulled out an envelope from my bag and handed it to her. "You'll be starting as a junior operations analyst tomorrow. Not vice president. We believe in earning our positions at Horizon." The color drained from her face as she read the official offer letter. "Junior. But they told me." "The recruiter informed you it was an entry-level position," Marcus clarified. "You must have misheard." My father finally found his voice. "Now see here," he thundered, trying to salvage his dignity. "You can't treat your sister this way. We're family." I turned to face him, years of suppressed anger finally surfacing. "Family? Is that what you call forcing me to eat in the kitchen? Making me serve drinks at my own sister's party? Dismissing my achievements for years? But your little website." My mother stammered. "My little website processes over $50 billion in transactions annually," I said quietly. "The company you've been mocking for years? It's now worth more than Dad's entire business empire. And tomorrow your precious Olivia will be starting at the bottom rung just like I did." Mr. Harrison cleared his throat. "Catherine, about that acquisition offer last year." "Still not interested, James," I cut him off. "Though I must say your face when you realized who owned Horizon was priceless." The party was effectively over. Guests began making awkward excuses and hurrying out. My mother was still frozen in her chair, while my father's face had progressed from purple to an alarming shade of red. Maria appeared at my side with my coat. "Your car is ready, Miss Chin," she said with a knowing smile. I'd arranged for her retirement package months ago, a thank you for all the years she'd been kind to the kitchen daughter. "Catherine, wait," Olivia called out as I headed for the door. "You can't just leave like this. We need to talk about my position." I turned back one last time. "Your orientation starts at 8 a.m. sharp. Don't be late, we're very strict about punctuality at Horizon." "Oh, and Olivia." I smiled sweetly. "The analyst break room is next to the kitchen. I'm sure you'll feel right at home there." The next morning I arrived at Horizon headquarters early. The building, 50 stories of glass and steel in downtown San Francisco, was a far cry from our family's kitchen. I watched from my top-floor office as new employees filed in for orientation. Right at 8 a.m. Olivia appeared in the lobby, looking significantly less confident than she had at her party. Her Chanel suit seemed out of place among the casual tech workforce. I watched on the security feed as Marcus conducted the orientation. When he announced me as the CEO, showing my photo on the presentation screen, Olivia visibly flinched. Later that afternoon, my assistant buzzed me. "Your parents are here. They're quite insistent." I sighed. "Send them up." They entered my office like they were stepping into alien territory. My mother's eyes darted around the space, easily 3 times the size of our family living room, taking in the floor-to-ceiling windows, the modern art, the view of the bay. "Catherine," my father began, his voice straining for authority. "We need to discuss this situation." "Which situation would that be?" I asked calmly. "The one where you've spent years belittling my achievements? Or the one where your favorite daughter now works for your disappointment?" "Be reasonable," my mother pleaded. "Olivia can't start at entry level. What will people say?" I lean back in my chair. "They'll say she's getting exactly what she earned, no more, no less. That's how my company works." "Your company," my father scoffed, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. "This is all smoke and mirrors. You couldn't possibly." I pressed a button on my desk and the wall-mounted screens came to life, displaying Horizon's real-time financial data, global operations and market position. "Still think it's smoke and mirrors, Dad?" I asked quietly. "Would you like to see last quarter's earnings report? Or maybe the acquisition offers I've turned down? Including the one from your friend James Harrison?" They stared at the screens in stunned silence. "Why didn't you tell us?" my mother finally whispered. "Would you have believed me?" I countered. "Or would you have found a way to dismiss it like everything else I've ever achieved?" "We could have helped." My father started. "Like you helped Olivia?" I interrupted. "By inflating her ego until she thought an entry-level position was a vice presidency? That's not help, Dad. That's sabotage." A knock at the door interrupted us. Marcus entered, looking apologetic. "Sorry to interrupt, but we have the Beijing team waiting for the quarterly review." I stood up. "My parents were just leaving." "Catherine," my mother tried one last time. "We're still family." I looked at her steadily. "Yes, we are. And maybe now you'll finally understand what that should have meant all along." After they left, I sat in my office, looking out over the city I'd conquered while my family wasn't watching. My phone buzzed, a text from Maria. "Your sister's having lunch in the break room. She looks quite lost without her Chanel." I smiled, remembering all those parties spent in the kitchen. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving them wrong, it's succeeding so spectacularly that their opinion becomes irrelevant. That evening, as I walked through my company's halls, I passed the analyst break room. Through the window I saw Olivia sitting alone, picking at a salad. Our eyes met briefly and for the first time I saw something new in her gaze. Respect. I continued to my office, where Marcus was waiting with acquisition papers. Another company to add to the empire that my family had dismissed as a little internet business. "You know," Marcus said as we reviewed the documents, "your sister actually showed some promise today. Once she got over the shock, she worked pretty hard." I smiled. "Good. Maybe she'll learn what I learned years ago, that true success isn't handed to you in the dining room. Sometimes it starts in the kitchen. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's showing others that the path they dismissed might just lead to the top floor of a billion-dollar empire." As for me, I still keep a simple black dress in my office closet. You never know when you might need to serve a few drinks to remind people where you came from, and just how far you've come.